Hey everyone, welcome to the GettingDaStop podcast. This is the very first episode that we're going to put out. We're very excited to do this. I am Derek, and that is Sassman. And yeah, we're just both very excited to get going on this new podcast, new adventure. And yeah, go ahead and say hi, Sassman.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the podcast. Very excited. It's going to be nice to finally talk football with someone who's pretty competent.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far. Little bit about at least the way we know each other is that we were old gaming buddies. We used to play games all the time, and it was just by happenstance that we found out that we were both real big fans of NFL, and we're actually both Giants fans, and we'll try and keep
Sadly,
that by. Yeah, very sadly, it's very rough for us. We'll try and keep that bias out of what we're talking about. I know I'm personally not afraid to talk about rival teams in an unbiased way. I don't know, maybe Saspin is as well. I hope he is, but we'll try and keep that bias out of it, and we hope you guys enjoy hearing it from our point of view. We're going to talk about some ongoing storylines that are happening in the NFL, and then we're going to do our predictions for this upcoming Sunday. We're recording now on oh my goodness, I'm East Coast,
yeah. So you're
so
basically Sunday.
for me, I'm recording this on Sunday. For you, you're recording this on Saturday. Um, so hopefully we get this out Sunday morning, or at least sometime before the games on Sunday, so everyone can listen to it in the morning. But this is our first time. We might be working some bugs out, so it is what it is. Um, so yeah, first thing I think we both want to talk about, I know we talked about this before, is we want to talk about our boy Tua Tagovailoa. Um Sustained another major head injury, and we know he has a history of major head injuries in the past. He seems to have absolutely zero neck muscles to keep his head away from the turf. Just absolutely none. Just no matter what happens, his head is gonna smack the ground. Um, and I don't know. What do you think, Saspin, should be his what do you think we should expect from him for the rest of the season? What do you think should be his personal decision on what he wants to do for the rest of this year or his career?
I think if he is smart and if he has family and friends who love him as much as we think he does, he is probably going to retire. And that was probably his last NFL game ever. It's kind of sad to see, but it's just the brain's the one injury where you can play the next day, even after getting a concussion. But the damage of it you'll never really feel until you get older and older and older. And it's not worth playing anymore.
Yeah, 100% agree. Um, when I think of what's going on with Tua, I immediately I jump towards Brett Favre and how Brett Favre sounds right now, and I don't know if you're familiar with how Brett Favre is at the moment, but um, I saw this one interview with Brett Favre where he was just and he was and coincidentally he was talking about head injuries, and he did not sound good, man. And obviously Brett Favre played in a time where head injuries were less watched, and they were less, they weren't as emphasized enough as much as they are now. So maybe protocol is a lot different than it is now. I sure hope it is. But the last thing we want is for people to be, is to sustain these long-term injuries, that last the rest of your life. I don't think anyone in the NFL world would blame Tua for absolutely saying, "I'm gonna take my fucking money and go retire out in Hawaii and just I'm done, done." I wouldn't blame him. I'd be happy for him. It's not worth it. Not worth it.
Yeah, just kind of sucks to see his career end in such an abrupt way, especially with the team he had. I really thought they were going to be one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl this year, just personally, because I thought they were really good on both sides of the ball. And it's going to be interesting to see what the team does going forward, as well as how they're going to handle the Tua situation in terms of the money. Because I know they have an insurance policy if a player abruptly retires due to injury. It's like 82 million or something where they can get their cap back, which is very interesting. Just based on how big his contract is.
This is a guy who thinks the Dolphins can play in the cold.
What? I mean the Apparently Tua was training to get better in the cold, which I thought was the funniest thing to hear off from going into the off season. I was like, how do
Yeah,
you
I heard
train
about
for the cold? That's so stupid.
that. Bro was playing in a freezer. You just like I don't know if you've ever worked in a restaurant, you have like these industrial freezers that like are like basically the size of a like just like a regular room. They're just like industrial freezers. I just picture Tua like taking snaps inside an industrial restaurant freezer. That's so funny to
Dropping back in his full gear, just like getting ready. He's like, I'm locked in.
me.
That'd be
That's so
crazy.
good. That's wild. Um yeah, no, I just think like I love watching Tua play. Um I'm gonna miss watching Tua play. I think he needs to have a serious sit down and discuss this with his family. Just don't know if it's worth it. What is this? His fourth head injury or third? I mean, either way, it's a lot.
Well, it's his third major one where he has like the
Mhm.
little fencing position reaction,
Yeah,
but
throwing
it's
up
like
gang sign
he's had
shit.
so many because he has a lot of other injuries also that's hurt him throughout
Yeah,
college.
I think I even tweeted out. I said, "This is the third time I've seen Tua throw up gang signs on the field. He's got to
I
call it
think I
quits."
saw that tweet and I was like, what the? Okay,
This is the third time I'm seeing him throw up gang signs. I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean,
maybe
for
he's
one
just a
thing,
crip.
for one thing, for one thing, I am not going to hold any responsibility away from Tua. You're the face of the franchise. The entire offense runs through you. What in the absolute fuck are you doing trying to flatten a linebacker? What are you doing? Like, what are you actually doing? It's ridiculous. Or it wasn't a linebacker. DeMar Hamlin's not a linebacker. He's a safety. Still, what are you doing trying to trample somebody? It's ridiculous. You're the face of the franchise. Slide. I don't hold blame away from him. He absolutely ran into that injury. That was entirely his fault. But but the fact that it's his third and now that we're so much more aware, I just don't think it's worth going over anymore. I think he needs to go retire, pull an Andrew Luck, go into just enjoy your money. And I'm sure the people in Miami wouldn't blame him. Um, Moving on a little bit, we're gonna move into Bryce Young, recently benched for Andy Dalton. How do we feel about this situation? Bryce Young, this would have been his sophomore year in the NFL, benched 2 weeks in. Is this I mean, and considering, well, I'll just let you go ahead and speak your piece, but what do you think about this, Asman?
I think it's kind of similar to how Tua started his career. I think he's just in an organization that didn't really set him up to win or gave him really the confidence to play to what his ability can be. Because it just seems like the atmosphere when you see him around the facility or see him going to practice, he just looks really unhappy. Even before he was benched, it just didn't seem like he fit very well there. I think he
Well,
might be traded or something.
his girlfriend just
Oh my
broke up with
god,
him
yeah.
too.
And is with Tyrese Maxey apparently. I saw that, I was like,
Absolute
ain't no way.
absolute worst ending for that story. Absolutely the worst ending. Couldn't have happened any worse. Not a worse NBA player that this could have happened with. Um
Ben Simmons is pretty bad too. That's a pretty low.
no, I'm not saying like skill wise. I'm just saying like I think Tyrese Maxey's the last person you'd want this to happen with. But well, Josh Giddey.
Okay, he likes him young though. That's a big difference.
um, so let me ask you a question. Do you think Bryce Young is are we talking trade? Are we talking new regime change? Are we talking, hey, he just needs to clear his head? What do we think is the is or do we think he's just straight up bust? What do we think is the outlet for him? What do you think is the end scenario?
I may be biased just because I'm a Bama fan. However, I think if the Panthers finish as bad as they do, like last year, I think they might just clear house in terms of GM, coach, and all that. And I think if he gets the right guy who actually cares about him, then maybe he can come back to his form. It's just the team around him sucks. So it's not really he has much to work with. It's
Yeah,
just young talent, aging talent, just all the in between guys. Just is what it is for him right now. I guess we'll see
right.
by the end of the year.
Right, and like who's he throwing to right now? He's throwing to old man Thielen and uh Xavier can't understand what he's saying. Fucking Leggett,
I love his
So
accent. It's the best.
I love Xavier Leggett. I love him. I would love to walk into any fast food establishment and talk to Xavier Leggett because he's always talking about this story. Where did he work? KFC? Was that where he was? Was that where he worked for 2 weeks? Is that what he always says?
He worked at
Yeah,
KFC.
yeah. He was saying he only ever had one real job, and I think he was saying he worked at KFC for like 2 weeks and they fired him.
Damn. I wonder why they fired
So
him.
well, probably because they couldn't fucking understand a thing he was saying, dude. But then at that point, why hire him? That's one thing. Why if you're firing Xavier Leggett, he seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Why are you hiring him in the first place if you can't? Yeah, whatever. But yeah, I think Bryce Young is in just an absolutely horrible situation. I think the Panthers are perhaps the worst set up organization on the planet in any sport. I'm a big hockey fan. I'm a big baseball fan. The Oakland Athletics are literally leaving Oakland in 3 years because of how bad they've been run. The White Sox have lost 106 fucking games this year. I think the Panthers are the worst team in all of sports. It's unbelievable how bad. I mean, they traded how much to get this first round pick? They gave up DJ fucking Moore to get this first round pick. They saw CJ Stroud on the board and say, no, we'll take a rumple fucking Stiltskin Bryce Young. And if he turns out to be an absolute bust for them, I just Panthers have to sell. I mean, something has to happen. I mean, they're in absolute shambles. I don't know what the way out is, not only for Bryce Young, but what is the way out for the Panthers organization?
I got a great
You
trade. Bryce Young for Daniel Jones. That's the move right there.
And I guess that's a good segue into the next thing I wanted to bring up. Are there any suitors for Bryce Young? Where you think Bryce Young could succeed? I guess we'll bring up Daniel Jones right now, or we'll bring up the Giants. I don't think they would do a straight trade for Daniel Jones. Um, but how about Darius Slayton and a sixth round pick for Bryce Young and J.C. Horn?
I
You
don't
know,
think they would do that. Not JC Horn.
you don't think?
No, I think they value him a lot more, even more than probably Bryce Young, sadly.
I mean, I guess has Bryce Young given them any reason to value him over J.C. Horn? I don't know.
I can
Every
see him
time I
going to a team that wants to win, maybe. That I think the Dolphins, the
I was just gonna say,
Seahawks.
yeah, I was just gonna say the Dolphins with the whole Tua thing that changes the whole dynamic for them. I know that people were bringing up a Ryan Tannehill reunion. What about Bryce Young? You know, could be a potential winner. I mean, Bryce Young, I mean, he doesn't have any real receivers right now. Imagine trading Bryce Young to the Dolphins and immediately he gets dropped into a situation with Tyreek Hill and Jaden Waddle.
Huge upgrade for him.
Absolutely huge. And he's got two lightning fast running backs, although Devon Achan's injured, isn't he?
I think he's out for like a week or two.
Yeah, okay. Um I mean, I think Devon Achan and Mostert are like the two fastest running backs in the NFL, right? And they're both on the same fucking team. It's absurd.
Yeah, they also drafted
Um,
another running back who was relatively fast. I think his name's Jalen Wright, I believe.
yeah, I think. Oh, yeah, they did get Jalen right. Who got Braylon Allen? I completely forgot who got
Oh,
Braylon
it's the
Allen.
Jets. The Jets.
The Jets got Braylon Allen. Why did they take Braylon Allen? They don't need a fucking running back.
I mean, he's already had 2 touchdowns this year. He has a 5.5 yards per carry average, and I think it's 11 for 95, something like that. He's been playing really good.
Jeez, he's the real fucking deal, man.
I mean,
I
he's
was a big.
huge, and he's 20, so he's so
Yeah, I know,
young.
dude. He's like the next Derrick Henry, right?
Yeah,
I was really big on. I know this is a little bit of a little bit of a dip away, but of our topic. But I'm a big Clemson fan, and
are
I Yeah, dude.
I never knew that. That's news to me.
How did you not know that? I don't talk too much about college sports. I just kinda watch college sports and drink beer, but I
That I
don't really
mean
talk
everyone does, so
I don't really talk too much about college sports. I just kinda, like, watch it. But I love Clemson, always have. Even when I was living in New York and it was always, like, Clemson versus Syracuse, I would always kinda, like, root for Syracuse, but I always wanted to be like, growing up, I was like, "Oh, yeah, everyone's Syracuse fans. I'm gonna, like, cheer when Syracuse scores." But it's like, in my head, I was just like, "Yeah, but that tiger paw kinda nice, though. I love purple."
you love the
Um,
purple.
so when I grew up, I became more of a Clemson fan. But anyway, I loved Will Shipley, the running back. Um, and I was just absolutely heartbroken when the Eagles drafted him. I felt like that was like God reached his hand down and shoved it straight up my dick hole, ripped my heart out, and said, "Will Shipley is going to the Eagles."
I
And
don't think he's
I
even playing for them because he's behind
he's
Kenneth
not
Gainwell and Saquon.
he's not playing at all for them. They didn't need him at all. They literally said, "I'm gonna fuck over Derek. This is what I'm gonna do." Also, we could have a whole fucking episode about Clemson because there's just so much exciting stuff happening in college football right now. But yeah, Bryce Young potentially getting traded or potentially just sitting on the bench behind redhead Dalton and just wasting his entire career away. Maybe he's a bust. Maybe he's a career backup. He might be another Zach Wilson. Just be high first round pick draft and just won't turn into anything. I guess we'll see. Um, this is more of a reactionary segment now. We're gonna move into Cardinals Rams. You have some opinions about the Rams. I have some opinions about the Cardinals. I think you have some opinions about the Cardinals. I'll let you kind of handle this section, Saspin. Go ahead.
I guess I'll start off by just talking about the Rams. I feel like the Rams finally are getting what they deserve from. Obviously, they won the Super Bowl that year, where they basically traded everything for these 1 year rentals and these really aging players who are just going to help them win now. I feel like we're finally seeing them get their due, where they're going to be bad for at least a couple years. Even though they have really good players like Cooper Cup and Puka Nakua, I feel like that's their whole offense. And now we're seeing them just run them into the ground because Puka got hurt against I believe it was either the Lions or their week 2 game. I don't remember who they played week 2, but I think it was the Lions. And then we saw Cooper Cup get hurt against the Cardinals. And after that, they literally just couldn't move the ball because they had no one else to throw to. He tried to throw to Tutu Atwell and he just dropped every pass. It's kind of embarrassing because he was also a pretty high pick for a receiver.
I
And
was never a Tutu believer. I'm just gonna say
yeah,
this right now. I never tweeted this. There's zero proof. No one can find any way to back this up. I just want everyone to know in my own head, I always disliked Tutu. Go ahead.
that is very true. Because I think he also got drafted before like some studs too, which was like the saddest thing ever. Because he wasn't even that good.
Just an absolute clown draft pick for just it's just ridiculous. Go ahead.
Yeah, but I just feel like the Rams are finally going to be, I don't know, losing because it's weird because like every year they seem to always be like 9-8, 10-6, always in like the middle of the pack for some reason. But I think they're finally going to be bad, which sucks because I do kind of like the Rams. I feel bad for them sometimes, but without Aaron Donald, without having their star receivers, they're really just going to lose every game now because there's nothing to do. They can't move the ball, and their defense isn't going to stop anyone anymore.
I mean, I'll say this. I've always thought Matthew Stafford operates at such a high level. I think he has the potential. I mean, he already has done it. He's already taken them to a World Series or World Series. Oh my God, I've been watching so much baseball. He's already taken them to a Super Bowl. So I still have a lot of faith in Matt Stafford. I think Puka, I think people are going to start figuring out Puka. I think he is, I he had a legendary rookie year, but when I watch him, I'm gonna be honest with you, Saspin. I don't see generational talent with Puka Nakua. I don't see number 1 wide receiver talent with Puka. I see a guy who every time he catches the ball, it's like, "Look what I found." It doesn't it doesn't feel like he should be as good as he is, and he is very good. I don't wanna take anything away from him. His whole rookie season, he was very successful, and I don't wanna take that away from him. He's obviously a talented person, way more talented than me in anything I do, but it's kinda like what we saw, and I'll bring this back to the Giants because obviously this is fresh in my head. To me, it's kinda like what happened with Isaiah Hodgins when we brought him in 2022, and he was just toasting people. He was toasting DBs. Corners had no clue what to do with Isaiah fucking Hodgins, this waiver wire or practice squad pickup from the Bills. They had no clue what to do with this guy. And what did he do in 2023? He had a quarter of the production in double the amount of playing time. It's because the league figured him out. And I feel like we're just kinda I'm personally just waiting for that to happen to Puka Nacua. I don't know about you.
It just depends. I think he's just benefiting off of Cooper Cup right now and just their dominant run game, at least last year with Kyron Williams. But if all that slows down, I think he will struggle. Kind of reminds me of like Juju Smith Schuster when they had Antonio Brown. Just they put so much attention on the number one guy that as the number two, he kind of just had all this success because he was always in one on one coverage, never really had the number one cornerback on him. So it was a little bit easier for him to produce.
Right. And I think that's big for so many receivers, and I mean, having that your true number 1 guy can just make your number 2 guy look so much better than he is. And once again, I don't wanna make it sound like I'm not a Puka Nacua hater. I just I just don't think he's the guy. I just don't think he's the guy, you know? I mean, obviously Cooper Cup is the guy. I just don't think I don't know if he's enough to really support the team outside of Cooper Cup because if you neutralize Cooper Cup, I'm waiting for I, I'm waiting for DBs to figure out how to solve Puka Nakua because I don't know if he has that deep of a route tree. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't think he's the fastest out there. He's a hell of a basketball player, though. Have you seen those clips of him dunking?
I've seen a couple of them, yes. Because didn't he
Dude,
also play in the celebrity game?
yeah, he did. Puka's a baller, man. I have a lot of respect for him. Although I just kind of went on a
Just shit
two
on him.
I kind of
For
went on like a two I kind of went on a 2-minute rant about how much I fucking hate the guy.
and then they're
But
like, yeah, he's pretty good at basketball. That's pretty cool.
just wrap it up with, yeah, I have a lot of respect for Puka. I don't want to make it sound like I hate Puka. I don't see longevity in his game. I don't see him being a lasting figure in that offense. I don't know. Maybe that's just me. People can feel free to quote this and call me a clown for saying that. I don't care. Um, but on the other side of that game, the Rams Cardinals game, let's talk about the Cardinals. Is it the real deal in the great desert state of Arizona? I think Kyler Murray is absolutely back. I think the Kyler Murray doubters are in shambles. I think they are punching the air. Kyler Murray, in my head, was always a top 10 QB in the NFL, top 8. He's clearly an elite QB, definitely good enough to bring any organization to a Super Bowl. Um, and Marvin Harrison Jr. is the truth, absolutely the truth. And we saw in that game that because Marvin Harrison Jr. draws so much attention. Sorry, he draws so much attention that opens up lanes for Dortch That opens up lanes for Trey McBride, and it opens up opportunities for James Conner. These are all gamers. And the biggest problem that the Cardinals had was their offensive line last year. Obviously, they didn't have Kyler Murray for the majority of it. Other than that, their biggest concern was their offensive line. And we see that now they have a relatively competent offensive line. And Gardeck, their linebacker, was getting fucking sacks last Sunday. So he was playing at a high level. So their pass rush is looking better. Their offensive line is looking better. They got their QB back. They have a competent receiving core. Trey McBride looks like a top 5 tight end. Maybe the only thing that's shaky right now is depth and their secondary, their defensive secondary. Other than that, I think the Cardinals, they're a sleeper, man. I think I don't think the Cardinals are a team you want to face right now if you are trying to earn a wild card spot later on in the season.
Oh, okay. I was just looking at the Cardinals roster. I was seeing if they still kept Sean Murphy Bunting. Cornerback room's not that bad. So they drafted Max Felton. They have like the third or second year guy, Garrett Williams, that I like a lot. And they got a weird secondary room.
They also drafted that one wide receiver rookie last year. Dortch was
Michael
a
Wilson.
Michael Wilson. Yeah, I think he's going to be good.
He's a
I think
fun
Michael
player to
Wilson's
watch.
Yeah, I think Michael Wilson. I mean that their wide receiver core right now is Marvin Harrison Jr., Michael Wilson, and Dortch, and then they have Trey McBride, and then they have their head running back is James Conner, and then they have that DeMarcado running back who's like their shifty, really fast running back, and James Conner's more of like the bruiser, I'm gonna fuck you up running back.
Has Trey Benson been playing a lot? Because I know they drafted him, and I like Trey
I don't.
Benson a lot.
I mean, I didn't. I was kind of flipping between that game and another. Maybe I just happened to miss Trey Benson. I don't see. I
Oh,
didn't.
he did play. He just didn't play very well.
How many carries?
He had 11 for 10.
11 for 10. Okay,
Yeah.
so he just. Yeah, okay. He was less than a yard per carry.
Yeah,
Yeah,
point
that's good.
nine for carry is kind of
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. That's just gonna be that's rookie growing pains, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just gonna happen. And they're probably putting him out there on certain downs that are like,
I
they're
think it was the
that can
end
be
of the
wrong.
game where they were just running the clock out and he was just getting
Yeah.
hammered.
Yeah. Benson was someone was he Florida State? Where did he come out of? I can't remember.
Uh, yes, you are right. Florida
He was
State.
Florida State. Yeah. I was high on Trey Benson when he was coming out. Um I think he's got a bright future. I just think James Conner is one. The Cardinals have so secretly put together like top 10 position players in some of these positions. I mean, you have Kyler Murray, who's a top 10 quarterback. You have Marvin Harrison Jr., who, as soon as he entered the league, is a top 10 wide receiver, in my personal opinion. You have Trey McBride, who's a top 10 tight end. And then you have James Conner, who's like sneakily a top 15, top 10 running back. And then you're just like, man, if they can just handle themselves in the trenches, we might just happen to have a legit team out west here in Arizona. Do you have anything to add to that before we move on?
Not really. Kind of said everything.
Yeah, I think so. I think we covered just about everything there is to say about them. Um, Next up, before we get into our predictions, a word from our sponsor. No, we're not big enough for that.
Damn, one day.
One day, Raid Shadow. Never mind.
DMCA taken down. Nobody. Oh,
um, we're gonna talk about A-Rod. No, I don't mean number 13, who used to play for the New York Yankees. I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers.
A Ron.
Old Man Rogers, aka Perk Rogers, aka Brett Favre Jr., aka Aaron Rodgers.
Had a pretty good game against the Patriots. Kind of dicing up their secondary, and the Patriots are kind of one of those teams where even if they're not playing so well, something that people will always say about the Patriots is that yeah, but they got a really good defense. Yeah, well, their secondary is pretty good. They got a pretty good, they're like they may not be that high ranked, but they got a good defense. Aaron Rodgers said, "Fuck that, I eat the Patriots for breakfast." And, he went out in there and kinda smoked them. What did you see with Aaron Rodgers play?
I saw what every Jets fan was praying, hoping, and begging for. Is he moved out of the pocket, looked comfortable, and was throwing like prime MVP Rodgers. It's just something you haven't seen in a while. Even in his last year with the Packers, he really didn't move as well as we thought he would. And he just looked good, comfortable. Didn't seem like he was favoring the Achilles at all. And just some of the throws he was making just it was almost orgasmic the way he places the ball, just beautiful.
Hold up. We're not
What?
gonna skate past what you just said, brother.
What? You don't watch Rogers with a little stiffy? Damn.
We're not gonna move past that as fast as you thought we were.
I was laying in bed watching the game, and just every throw. Oh,
You're
ignore the alarm.
uh,
No, it was just a little
uh,
nut came out. A little
just,
splooge. Because it was beautiful. Like he threw a touchdown to Garrett Wilson against Christian Gonzalez, and he just had the little smallest window he threw it into it. It was just perfect. Perfect.
that's a player that I think maybe for another time we're gonna have to have a whole. I mean, maybe we talk about some nice young DBs, but Gonzo I think is gonna have a great career. But I
The
did see the
young
pass.
ones.
Yeah, the young DBs or just young players in general. I think Gonzo's gonna have a good career. But anyway, you were right. Gonzo got cooked. Um, yeah, I mean, you're right. When you say prime Rogers, man, I mean, we're talking the little wrist flick. You're right. He was moving. He was getting out of the pocket well. He was getting through his reads. I mean, you could have told me that this was, you know, a 30-year-old quarterback out there, and I would have been like, "Yeah, that looks like 30-year-old Rodgers. There's no reason for me to think it wasn't 30-year-old Rodgers." You know? It's just I think he just shows his age when he drops back and gets a non-contact Achilles injury. I
Four
think that's the only
plays. It's as long as I
I
last. Damn.
Yeah, it's real bad when Aaron Rodgers lasts longer in his season or he lasts. Never mind. I was gonna make a joke, but
Started a
I
little
spoke.
too much.
Yeah, I stuttered over way too much over that joke. I was gonna make a joke that I last longer than Aaron Rodgers' season last year,
Dang,
but
no
it didn't
bangers.
come. It didn't come out of my brain fast enough. I drank alcohol today.
Ain't no way.
Um,
On the clock? It's crazy.
My brother in Christ, it was Saturday.
That is true. Vin was just watching Clemson. Did Clemson even play today?
Yeah, they did, and they
Oh, okay.
absolutely skull fucked NC State. I was so happy. I
What's
have an
NC
NC
State?
North Carolina State Wolfpack. What? You don't know Wolfpack? Um,
They're all right.
I mean, yeah, but you said what's NC State? Like you don't know who
No, I said,
NC
oh,
State
it's
is.
just NC State.
Oh, I thought you said what's NC
No, I
State, and
know
I was like,
NC
what?
State.
Okay, I was about to say what? Dude, what a casual. I was about to call you a casual. Um, But but yeah, no, I have a NC State buddy or a buddy who went to NC State and he's an NC State fan. And third quarter, it was like 50 something to something, Clemson winning, and I just sent him like the tiger emoji. I didn't want to say anything else. I just sent him the
Damn.
tiger emoji, and he ended up
Ruin his
sending back
day.
like well, he ended up sending back like the green faced puke emoji. So, obviously he wasn't feeling it. But But yeah, no. Have you seen back on the topic of Aaron Rodgers, have you seen the guy Rogers Realm? I've seen him on Instagram.
I've never seen that guy. He sounds
Oh,
like a
dude,
Rogers Glazer.
So he is a Rodgers glazer, but what he makes these really funny videos of like how to throw the football like Aaron Rodgers, and he does like a perfect Aaron Rodgers impression, like throwing the football. I recommend everyone go check out Rodgers Realm on Instagram. I don't know about any of his other platforms, but he does a absolutely legit Aaron Rodgers form pass. It's like perfect. Um, did you want to mention anything else about Aaron Rodgers or any other topics in the NFL before we move on to predictions for the 22nd, the football games on the 22nd?
No, I think we've covered most of the big topics for at least the
Cool.
first episode.
Think so too. Yeah, and guys, if you guys are listening to this podcast right now, for one thing, thank you guys for sticking along for so long. I'm not sure how far along we are. But thank you guys for sticking along to the episode. This is going to be a shorter episode than usual. We're just kind of getting our bearings here. But I think we are going to follow a similar format to what we're doing right now for the future. But right now we're going to get into predictees. I'm going to run through the 1 o'clock games first, and then we should be able to finish up with the
12 o'clock.
12, 12, yeah, 12 o'clock games. Are there two Monday night games or Monday games?
Yes, there's two.
Oh
There's
my
two.
God. Okay, so we'll finish up with two Monday games. Interesting. So first game on my list is Chargers Steelers. We got J Herb and we got Justin Fields and the Steelers. Both teams are 2-0. One team will get their first loss this year. Who's going to get their first loss?
This it really just depends. I know Justin Herbert had a high ankle sprain in the last game, and he was favoring it a little bit. He has been practicing like on and off, been very limited. So if he actually plays, I think it's gonna be the Chargers who win. Even though I think the Pittsburgh Steelers have one of the best defenses in the NFL, I just think the run game from the Chargers has been immaculate with J.K. Dobbins, Gus Edwards. And I think that's the two running backs they really roll with the most.
Yeah. I I think J Herb is I don't know how to feel about Justin Herbert. He's clearly an extremely talented elite quarterback in the NFL. He just has absolutely zero help around him. And I think the Chargers are one of those teams where it's like I mean, you were right about the run game, J.K. Dobbins, but he has like no I mean, he's throwing a Quentin Johnston, man.
What, that doesn't move you?
No.
He's not the GOAT? He's not the best? What do you mean? TCU
Mm,
legend?
mm, no. No, it doesn't move me. I will say, from what I understand, their offensive line looks good. I'm not sure if Joe Alt is getting every snap in every game.
He has been. He's been getting a
He
little cooked, but he's a
is he
rookie.
okay?
Yeah, but
Yeah,
he's held his own in the run game at least. Just
but
pass
he's
pro.
he's a down in down out guy.
Yeah, it seems like it. At least what I've
Okay,
seen from so far, because I did watch the week 2 Chargers game.
I think Harbaugh is coming in there and he's changed the identity of that team. I think they are looking so much better this year from what I've seen than they are next year, or from what they looked last year. I think they're looking much better this year than last. Um, but I think Justin Fields has been a much better quarterback than what we have all, what a lot of people have thought while he was in Chicago. Um, and I think coming over to Pittsburgh has been a huge change for him. I'm not sure how far out Russell Wilson is. Do you happen to know how far out Russell Wilson is? Do you think
I
he's
can
going to play?
I can pull that up for you real quick because I
Is
have
there?
no idea.
Will he potentially play tomorrow? I'm not sure what the extent of his injury was.
I know he had a calf injury and they were debating putting him on IR, which means he would be out for like 4 weeks.
Right, which probably means he won't be playing tomorrow.
Yeah,
Um, I think the Steelers are one of those teams, like you said, they have a phenomenal defense. As long as they can keep a clean pocket, Justin Fields is a talented, athletic quarterback, and he's throwing to really good receivers, or at least he's throwing to a really good receiver in Pickens. Um, my pick is the Steelers for this game, just plain and simple. I pick Steelers. Is your final pick the Chargers?
yeah, I'm gonna pick the Chargers. I'll stick with that.
Okay, I'll pick the Steelers, and I'll keep a note of our picks. Um, I'll keep a note of our picks.
See who
Next
does
game,
better.
yeah, we'll keep score. Um, Next game up, I'll let you start off. Is gonna be Texans Vikings. So we got C.J. Stroud versus the Vikings. And once again, these are two teams who are undefeated, and one of these teams will achieve their first loss tomorrow. Which team will it be?
I think this one's pretty easy. Even though I do think the Vikings are a lot better than people give them credit for, I think when it comes down to a close game, the person I trust to lead their team more to a victory is going to be CJ Stroud over Sam Darnold. I think
Mhm.
Sam Darnold's proved that he's still a good quarterback in this league. I just think a lot of it is just how well built the Vikings are for success. Because that's why they drafted JJ McCarthy, is because they put him into a team that was pretty ready to win. Their defense was the biggest question mark of them. And it seems like Brian Flores came in and changed the identity. And even with the new players they brought in, losing to Neil Hunter, it seems like they're still going to be dominant.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, I think, like you said, I think this answer is pretty clear. I think this is Texans all day long. I fully expect Nico Collins and Tank Dell to absolutely run circles around the Viking secondary. It it should honestly just be a laugher, in my opinion. I know Darnold looks like, he's actually, it seems like he's doing pretty good. He cooked the Giants. Obviously, he got that second win as well. I think he looks better than most people anticipated. Um, I do, however, I don't think that his Justin Jefferson connection is going to be enough. I think the Houston Texans, although they don't have the greatest defense, I think they're good. I think they're good enough. I think they're going to get in Darnold's face, and especially if the Texans put up really good offensive numbers. Because I don't think Sam Darnold has gone up against someone who's really been oppressive offensively yet this year. Obviously, didn't happen with the Giants. Um, so when you give Sam Darnold something on the line, or rather, you're giving him a game that's tighter and there's more on the line per play, like all of your plays mean more. I don't think he's going to perform as well, and I expect Tank Dell and Nico Collins just run circles around the Minnesota secondary. So my pick is also the Texans.
Is it kind of funny that I think that Sam Darnold is literally just like a mini Kirk Cousins coming into the Vikings? Just the way he's
Yeah,
playing. It's like really
yeah,
good in the regular season, has a good connection with the receivers, but when he gets in a prime time or a close game with an actual contender, he might just fold.
right. Yeah, if I think about if I think about the last time Kirk was in the playoffs, I think, yeah, when he was out against a real contender like the
The
New York
Danny
Giants.
Dimes.
Danny Dimes dicing him up, baby. Let's go.
The best game of my life.
That
Oh,
was uh y'all, if you guys aren't Giants fans, you guys are gonna hear like random um inaudible New York Giants noises often on this podcast. Will however, you just need to understand what 2022 meant for us. It was
it
like
was our year.
it was like the greatest moment of our entire lives. So you need to give this to us. Next game up, we have Eagles Saints. Eagles lost a heartbreaker to the Falcons, and the Saints absolutely dog walked the Cowboys. Are the Saints, and if we remember, the Saints beat the Giants last year. So are the Saints the NFC East bane of existence? Will they go in and beat the Eagles tomorrow, or will the Eagles, who are most likely the favorites, will they come out on top of this one?
It's a good question. I think personally the Saints are a lot more legit than people think. I know some people are really high on them, some people are really low on them. I just think overall they're playing the most complete football. I think the biggest card for them that has been playing in their favor has been Derek Carr. It's just he looks like back when he had that playoff run with the Raiders before he got injured in his first playoff game, and it kind of lost him the game. I think he's back to that form, which is something that I like to see because I really like Derek Carr as a person.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Saints, like you said, are much better than people think, or better than people thought. Um, and I also think the Eagles are worse than people thought. I think they have been bad. They were bad at the end of last year. They are a team that's lost. They I don't think they have a really good identity right now. I think they came out at the start of the year and they came out and they absolutely dominated um the Packers. Um the Falcons, I don't care who's on the Falcons right now. That was not a game that should have been close for the Eagles based on how people talk about the Eagles. With the way people talk about the Eagles, they should have gone in and absolutely forced Kirk Cousins to retire from the game of football. Like that's the way people talk about the Philadelphia Eagles for no reason. This one Super Bowl having ass team in their
Okay,
entire fucking inception. This one fucking ring having team.
no bias.
The way people fucking suck Nick Sirianni's short, fat Guido dick. And they should have gone in and I'm Italian. I can say the word Guido.
Okay,
They should have gone in there and absolutely mollywopped the Falcons and they lost. I don't care how close it was. They shouldn't have lost based on how people talk about them. I think the Eagles have lost their identity. I think they don't know what's going on. I think Saquon Barkley is worse than Devin Singletary. And I pick the Saints. I think the Saints have a lot of juice right now. They have a ton of momentum. I think they're going to go in there and they're going to surprise the world again. And I think the Saints move to 3-0. Very emphatic response from me. Was your pick the Saints?
yes, my pick
You're
was the
you're
Saints.
you're rocking with the Saints. Okay. Next up on the list, we have Broncos Bucks. Broncos are 0-2. Bucks are 2-0. Is it going to be Mayfield magic or is it going to be Bo Nix's first win as the starting quarterback of the Denver Broncos? Take it away.
I don't think the Broncos are going to win a game for a while. What I've seen from the Broncos and what I've also seen through the media and the way opposing teams have reacted to the Broncos offense, it seems like Sean Payton is being very careful with Bo Nix and has given him a very small playbook that he uses throughout the games. And it's just making him predictable and a lot easier to play against. And with how dominant Tampa Bay's defense has looked, they've had shakiness on offense. That's fine. But their defense has really been the reason they've been winning a lot of these games. And I just think it's going to be a slaughter fest for poor Bo Nix. I just hope he comes out alive.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better myself. I think Sean Payton is neutering his playbook, to say the least. I think he's keeping it deadly simple for Bo Nix. Not a lot of creativity. Like you said, I don't think the Denver Broncos are going to win for a long time in this year. I think the Denver Broncos are I think they're number one on my list as candidates for a one-win season. I don't have a lot of faith in them. I know they gave what's his face that big contract. Um, can't think of his fucking name.
The receiver,
Yeah, Cortland
Cortland
Sutton.
Sutton,
Cortland Sutton. They gave Cortland Sutton that contract.
Patrick
Um,
Sertan, the contract as well.
yeah, they gave Pat Surtain a contract. I don't. I liked Bo Nix coming out of college. He has not impressed me as a pro so far, and I know it's only week 2 or now it's going to be week 3. These are rookie quarterbacks. I understand, but Bo Nix is an older prospect. I expect slightly more out of my older prospects. Not much more, but I expect slightly more out of my older prospects. And I'm just not seeing it from him. I don't think they go in and beat the Bucks. I think Baker Mayfield goes in there, and him and Mike Evans are just going to absolutely spank the Broncos. My pick is also going to be the Bucks. We have the Packers led by none other than Malik going up against the Tennessee Titans, who are 0-2, led by Will Levis. I think this is quite obvious. I'll start this one off. I mean, this is clearly the Packers are going to win this game. I don't see, I don't have faith in Malik as a quarterback. Um, but you know who I have less faith in is Mr. Mayonnaise in my coffee, Will Levis. Will Levis looks terrible. When he was walking off the sideline and coach was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Did you see that? Did you watch the slow-mo?
Oh, I watched both of them, the fumble
Yeah.
and the interception. The
Did you
reactions from him and the coach are some of the funniest things I've ever seen.
Well, did you see their coach out there? Literally, if you watch the slow-mo of his coach, you could lip read him. He looks straight at Will Levis and says, "What the fuck are you doing?" That's the mindset of this quarterback room. That's the mindset of this offense, and this is how the coach feels about their quarterback. Um, I I I I think the Titans are probably one of the worst off teams in the NFL right now. Not a lot of faith in them. I think the Packers losing Jordan Love is huge. That's so big for them. That's such a bummer. I really like Jordan Love. I still think they come out on top. Um, I would say my pick is Packers.
I won't lie, this one I'm feeling a little spicy. I think I'm gonna take the Titans and let me speak my piece. The one thing that I am a little worried about with the Packers is their defense. They looked very good last week, very good. Just consistency is the thing that they've always struggled with their defense. And I think if Will Levis doesn't pull a little funny NFL meme worldwide broadcast, they can win the game because their offense is a lot better than people give them credit for. Yes, is it a retirement home? Just a little. However, they are pretty good. They played good against the Bears until the interception and many other problems. And I think they can win, especially with their defensive line, because if they can slow down the only consistent thing of the Packers offense, and that's the running game with Josh Jacobs, I think Jeffrey Simmons can eat him up and make Malik Willis uncomfortable when he does have to drop back to pass. And they could win. I think it's going to be a very close game if their defense shows up and if the Packers struggle a little bit. So I am going to take the Titans. I think it's fun to take an upset every now and then because you never know, you might be right. That's my little copium hopium for the Tennessee Titans. My dad would be mad, but oh, it's okay.
Hey, I don't hate it. The Titans, they got Pollard. He's a talented human being, I suppose, who could potentially do something, but I don't hate it. You know, I say I pick the Packers, but I don't think it's going to be a dominating win. When I think of a dominating win, I think of one team who's just running hog wild over the other team. I don't think the Packers are going to run hog wild over the Titans. I just don't think the Titans are going to do much. I think the Titans win. I think the Titans score a max of 13 points tomorrow. Max. Touchdown and a field goal, maybe 2 field goals. And and I want like that's what I want to say, when I pick Packers. It's not that the Packers are going to dominate, it's that the Titans are going to just not do anything against them. Another one at 1 p.m. game. We have a couple more 1 p.m. games. One more and then one more after this. Giants Browns. Now we're both Giants
Yay!
fans. Giants Browns. Will it be Daniel Jones? Will it be Drew Lock? Will it be Tommy DeVito? No, it's gonna be Daniel Jones. It's gonna be Danny Pennies going up against Deshaun Watson.
Woo.
Um, of the Cleveland Browns. I saw this funny meme the other
Oh
day.
no.
with about Deshaun Watson, where it was every time Deshaun Watson points up to God to celebrate, and then it was just God was like Jonah Hill, like doing this, like, nah, man, no, no, no.
No, I
That
don't
that was
want you.
that was really funny. So, however, I do feel, well, I'll let you go ahead. Go ahead.
I'm gonna say that the Giants are gonna march in to Cleveland and shit on this stupid team. If we can hold one man away from poor Daniel Jones, please don't let Miles Garrett touch him. Please. He will fold like an omelet. We just need Malik Neighbors to cook Denzel Ward, this little bum, and then we can win. Because I think hopefully our two premier pass rushers can actually get pressure. Because when Deshaun Watson gets pressured, he runs around like a little chicken with his head cut off. And I think that is our win condition. However,
Which
that's probably not going to happen, but that's okay.
which premier edge rusher, the one that has 0 sacks or the one who showed up on the injury report today?
How about both? They're both pretty good, aren't they? Great start to the year. No, I think it's mostly going to just be Dexter Lawrence up the middle, just crushing their center almost
Yeah.
every play.
So your pick is the
Giants. I
okay.
believe. This is first win on the board.
I think
Hopefully.
the Giants. I think the Giants are due. I think the Giants aren't a sub 500 team. I think the Giants are a 500 or 550 team. I don't think they are a team that's, I don't see them finishing the year with 3 wins. I don't see them finishing the game with the year with 4 wins. I see them realistically being able to finish the game with 8, 9 wins, or year with 8, 9 wins. And I think they're gonna have to start winning soon if that's gonna happen. I think they can do it. I think they can win this game. Um, I don't think they will. But for the sake of being a Giants fan, I'll never pull against the Giants, no matter how much I hate that inbred stupid fuck could have dated Kay Adams, Daniel Jones. Um, Unbelievable that this guy is the face of my franchise. I think Malik Neighbors is going to go run around and demolish people. I think he learned a lot from that dropped pass last week. I think he's going to come back better than ever. And I also think Theo Johnson is going to get involved this week. He hasn't really been involved much up to this point. I think they're going to get Theo Johnson involved. I think him and Wandale might have a larger part. So I will also go Giants, just for absolutely biased hope and um, unreasonable hope. So we got Da Bears versus This Is Our Colts. This is our
Okay.
team. We love them. This is our Colts.
Is that
Whether win or
actually a
lose.
song? I've heard that like once. It's
Have you
crazy.
never?
I've
Wait,
heard
you
it
don't know?
once. I've heard it
You don't know?
once.
You don't know Blue Eyed Seth?
No.
Oh, Blue Eyed Seth is great. I shouted
I'm
out,
brown.
dude. I shouted out Rogers Realm. I'm gonna shout out Blue Eyed Seth. He is the greatest football fan of all time.
He chose the
Every single
Colts?
yes,
Oh, okay.
every single week he writes a brand new unique hype song for every single game the Colts play. Recently, he has had the Colts mascot in his home, and he's also had the quite easy on the eyes Indianapolis Colts cheerleaders in his home to sing the hype songs with him. So Blue Eyed Seth is just absolutely killing it right now. He's awesome. I love him. I'm not a Colts fan by any means. I follow him and I love his songs, and he has made me Colts fan adjacent. And and
Now give me
honestly,
the Bears.
I have no more analysis of this for Blue-Eyed Seth. I will never root against the Colts. I think the Colts are going to win this game cuz fuck the Bears, fuck Caleb Williams, biggest bust
Damn.
ever.
Damn.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Damn.
I
Damn.
nah, No, I'm just kidding. I do like Caleb Williams. I do think Caleb Williams is gonna have a very successful career in this league. Um, but this is for blue-eyed Seth. I picked the Colts.
That's a crazy pick, but okay. I think this is pretty easy. I think the Bears just win solely on their defense. I think what I saw last week from Anthony Richardson was just disappointing. I know he's only played like
Bro, you didn't
barely
see that
20
fucking,
games.
like dude, he was
No,
getting
no,
sacked while
I
he threw
don't
that touchdown
care. I
pass.
don't care. Voila, I do not care. He looked like dog shit on a stick. I was disappointed because I was like, oh, I love Anthony Richardson. He looks so good against the Texans. They should have won that game. And then I see him laying egg playing the Packers. The Packers aren't that good. They're
But
missing
bro,
Caleb. Well, I can't even speak. Voila.
all right,
Oh
but may I make this argument?
no.
He was getting sacked.
Well, so was Daniel Jones, and my goat threw a touchdown to Malik Neighbors in the
Bro said
first.
bro said my goat. That's crazy. Okay, next up we got Panthers Raiders. I don't want to talk
Wait! I picked the Bears. Did you write it down?
I
Why
did
the
write it
Bears?
down.
The
I wrote
Bears?
it down. I
The
wrote it down.
Bears?
All right, paint it on your nails.
I did.
Um,
Okay.
so I don't think there's much analysis that we have to go into this. We have the absolute hapless Panthers. Just
Oh,
they're an absolute junior varsity team going against the Las Vegas
wait.
Raiders.
Hear me out.
I clearly picked the Raiders here.
Hear me out.
I have no further analysis than that,
Hear me out. Andy Dalton wakes up,
and is gonna
gets
lose,
gets his little leprechaun outfit on, grabs his pot of gold,
bro.
walks
You're not.
into Las
All right, hold
Vegas, and just throws rainbows.
Saspin, Saspin, you're not white. You can't say that.
It's okay. My family's Irish. I got the pass. It's all good.
Bro, 2 minutes ago you said you're brown. You can't just be any team you want. Pick a side.
You have
Oh
no
my,
faith. You know the over under for that game is like 30 points. It's like so bad.
bro. Literally, Panthers tickets are gonna be selling for 75 cents in 2 weeks.
It's cooked.
Dude, the fucking Giants Panthers game in Munich is gonna be like
Free.
unbelievably bad. It's gonna be so bad. Anyway, so you pick
No,
the
I'm
Panthers?
picking the Raiders. Fuck no. You
Okay,
think I'll pick the Panthers? That team's a bum. They're bums.
bro.
They suck.
You were hyping them up. All right, this is gonna be that okay, so that was our first 4 o'clock game. We have another 4 o'clock game. Dolphins, Seahawks, interesting game. Dolphins are 1-1. Seahawks are 2-0. I think Seahawks are fakers. No faith in Geno. I think DK Metcalf is really good still. I don't think he's enough to carry that team. I think only hope for the Seahawks in this one is if their premier. Well, you know what? The more I think about this, the more I start to think, the more I start to work out the scenario in my head. Seahawks have a really good defense, and and the Dolphins don't have Tua.
Hear me out. Tyreek Hill,
All right,
Waddle.
last minute opinion change. This is the underdog I'm taking. Even though they have more wins than Dolphins, I still think they're probably underdogs.
No, they're favored
I
actually.
The Seahawks?
Yeah, they're favored by 4.5.
All right, well I'm picking the Seahawks then. I thinking about it now, I was picking the Dolphins earlier today. I'm going Seahawks. I think now that I think about it more, they have a really good defense. I think they're going to get after whoever's going to be under center for the Dolphins. And yeah, I'm gonna trust that Geno Smith and DK Metcalf are gonna figure it out. And I think Tyreek is gonna be neutralized a little bit because it's gonna be a new quarterback. What do you think?
Hear you out. Let me take you back in time a little bit. You may have not had the best game, but when Skylar Thompson came in to play the Bills in that playoff game, he was slinging it a little bit. He looked like something. I
LOL.
believe with this offense and with hopefully their defense playing as well as they have been, except for against the Bills, we don't talk about that they will win against the Seahawks because I think the Seahawks suck personally. I am a little bit of a Seahawks hater just because of my cousin, just because of the organization. But I do think the Dolphins will be fine with the offense they have. It sucks not having a chain, But I think even without him, they'll still win. I think it's going to be really, really close, though. It might even go to overtime, but I'm going to pick the Dolphins still. I believe in Skylar Thompson.
Solid. Ravens, Cowboys. Ravens are 0-2. Cowboys are 1-1. Two teams that are underachieving so far. No one expected the Ravens to go 0-2, and no one expected the Cowboys to get their back blown out by the Saints. These are two teams who are underperforming 2 weeks in. I don't know what to think right now. I feel like I could put a blindfold on and throw a dart at the wall, and I could have it just as good of a chance of picking the right side as I would trying to come up with an educated guess. I'm going to say the Ravens break their losing snap here, and I think they get their first win of the season. And I have no real good reason other than I think that law of averages states the Ravens have to win eventually. They're too good of a team to not win after 3 weeks. Um, I think Lamar needs to be active in the run game a little bit more than he has been. And I think um I think the I think the Cowboys backfield, their defensive backfield is maybe not as good as we thought it was going to be. So maybe Lamar has not only a good rushing game, maybe he has a better passing game uh, tomorrow as well. So my pick is going to be the Ravens for this one.
I'm also going with the Ravens. I just think what we saw from Cowboys last week is that they legitimately cannot stop the run. Because if you're going to let old man, even though I think he's good, Alvin Kamara rush for 120 something, like 2 or 3 touchdowns
Fantasy
with the
managers were coming.
everywhere. Because it's so dumb. The Dallas invests so much into their defense, yet they never really put a lot of attention into their interior. Even though they did draft Mozzie Smith like last year, I feel like he hasn't been anything for them. I feel like he hasn't even played for them. And it's just with Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, I think this defense is just not going to be able to stop that run game. And I think it's a pretty easy win for Baltimore. So I'm going to take the Ravens as well.
Solid. Yeah, no bias. We only just picked the Giants and picked against the Eagles and picked against the Cowboys, but no bias on this
No,
podcast.
no,
Never.
no, no,
Never
no,
on
no,
getting
no.
the stop. Never on getting the stop. Never
We
once.
saw the Commanders. We could go. We could get one. Oh, who knows? Maybe, maybe.
Yeah, we could skip right to that one if you want.
No, we gotta go in order.
So
Let's go.
Lions Cardinals. We have the Detroit Lions who are maybe slightly underachieving, and then we have the Cardinals who are maybe slightly overachieving. I think for the sake of the story, for me, we talked about this before. I think the Cardinals might be the real deal. And if they're gonna prove they're the real deal, if the Cardinals are gonna go out there and say to the world, hey, we're not this is not your hey, we're rebuilding, we're gonna get 5 wins and we're gonna get a high draft pick, and then we're gonna be good in 2 or 3 or 4 years. If the Cardinals are gonna go out there and say, hey, we're good now, and you guys shouldn't rest on your laurels when we're next up on your schedule. I think they need to go out there and they need to beat Jared Goff and the Lions. And I think that's what Kyler Murray and Marvin Harrison Jr. are going to go do. Marvin Harrison Jr. had 2 touchdowns last week. I think Kyler Murray looked absolutely elite. And we already talked about this before. I think just the fact that Marv is on their team now just opens up so many more opportunities. And I think their defense and offensive line is looking so much better. Gardeck had a sack. Um, the pockets were clean. I'm saying the Cardinals win, and I'm not going to say they win by a landslide, but I'm going to say they win by 2 possessions. I'm going to say the Cardinals win by 2 possessions. I'm even going to get a little bit more specific. So I'm going to say Cardinals win by 2 possessions.
I think we're on the same page. I'm gonna also go with the Cardinals. I do think that it's gonna be won by whoever gets the ball last. I think this low key might be a shootout, like the first shootout of this year. Just because I think both of their defenses have been the weak point. Because the Lions secondary has really struggled. Their only pass rush has only come from Aiden Hutchinson once again. And the Cardinals, as good as they've looked, I think against this really good Lions offensive line, they're going to struggle to get pressure. And it's going to just open up a lot of holes in that secondary that's very young and still kind of getting their footing together. So I think it's going to be a shootout, but I am going to take the Cardinals. I just think Kyler Murray's the GOAT. MVP season loading. I like my little guy running around like a child. I think it's the funniest thing in the world. And I'm going to pick the Cardinals.
Perfect. Yeah, like we're on the same page. Take us away with 49ers Rams. What are we thinking about that game?
At LA 49ers Rams, I think this is like the easiest one. Even though the 49ers actually have a lot of injuries because I think Debo's out, Kittle's out. We know CMC went on IR due to God knows what. They keep changing with injuries. It's going to be up to really just Ayuk to produce a lot of their offense. But I just think this Rams team, as we touched on a little bit before, is just a shell of their former selves. And I think that even if their defense shows up, they're not going to be able to score as cleanly and as often as the 49ers. So I'm going to pick the 49ers.
Yeah, I think this one's somewhat obvious. Uh, Niners are the healthier team. They're the more talented team. Out of every position outside of quarterback, I think. I think Matthew Stafford's a better quarterback than Brock Purdy. But every other position, they're more talented and they're healthier. Um, I'll be honest, I don't have too much insight analysis on this. I just think that Brandon Ayuk is going to be big. Maybe the one factor that's going to be that's going to be involved with this is the fact that CMC will not be playing. That's going to be a huge difference maker for the Rams, and if they have any chance of winning this game, it's going to be the fact that they're just going to be able, hopefully for them, that they'll be able to neutralize the ground game a little bit more. I still say it's going to be the Niners because I think they have the better defense as well. I think they're going to get to Matt Stafford, and I think Brock Purdy is still going to pass the rock around a bit more. So I'm going to go ahead and also say Niners for the game against the Rams. Next up, Chiefs Falcons, aka the referees versus the Falcons.
Oh, we're cooked
Will
now.
will the NFL payroll referees manage to take down the Atlanta Falcons? Um, for the Sunday night game. That's actually the Sunday night game. Chiefs Falcons Sunday night football. Um, I think I'll just go ahead and start this one off. I think the Chiefs are going to win. Um, and I will touch on a little bit. I think the Bengals absolutely got scammed. I don't care if that's technically pass interference. I see way worse not get called all the time in way less crucial situations. It's unbelievable that the refs would have the arrogance to bring the game into their own hands to decide that game like that. Unbelievable. They should be absolutely ashamed of themselves that they have such a hard on for Patrick Mahomes. I'm not even a Patrick Mahomes hater, but the bias is undeniable. He has the most um, incompletions called back by penalties, or most interceptions, rather, most interceptions overturned by penalties than any other quarterback in all of NFL history. And it's by a margin of like 10. It's massive. The referee bias is unbelievable. Um, but like I said, I don't hate the Chiefs. I just think that was egregious of the referees to do. I do think the Chiefs win this game. I don't think Kirk Cousins stands a chance. Um, yeah, I'm gonna say the Chiefs win by 3 possessions.
I'm also going to take the Chiefs. I think if they scheduled this game for literally any other time but Sunday night, big Kirk Chains would have walked into there and then just threw lights out, won the game over Patrick Mahomes.
That
But
is
they
true. It is
knew they
prime
had
time
to
trade.
nerf him. They had to nerf him. They did it to my boy. No, my boy, please. So one time, let him win an important game. It's okay. I am gonna take the Chiefs. It's a pretty safe take. Falcons are
Yeah,
a weird team now. They beat the Eagles, who cares? I don't know. It's just a weird team right now. Don't know how to feel about them yet, but I'll take the Chiefs.
I say we have a whole episode segment in the future dedicated to the Falcons because
Big
I have a
Kirko.
lot. Well, I have a lot to offload about the whole Michael Penix situation. Just that whole why the fuck would you draft Michael Penix after giving Kirk Cousins a bag? Like I have a whole spiel with red yarn tacked on the wall to offload about the whole situation. But I do say we have that talk in the future. But yeah, we're both on the same page with the Chiefs. Now we're moving on to Monday night games. We have Jaguars Bills. I'll go ahead and let you carry this one away.
It's a weird one because I try my best to watch every football game, if not watch all the highlights, like watch all the stories. But the one team I could care the less about is the Jacksonville Jaguars, mostly because they've always sucked. Even though they have one of my favorite players in the league in Trevor Lawrence, I just like him a lot coming out of college. It's hard to take them this game because it's at Buffalo, and Buffalo have been looking better despite losing some really key pieces in their offense. I just think it's hard to bet against Josh Allen. When he gets going, when he puts his little superhero cape on, seems like nothing can really stop him. And when you let James cook, you just win. And I think Buffalo's going to take this game at home.
Yeah, good pick. Good safe pick. Um Not because I genuinely believe it, but just for the sake of being different. I am going to pick the Jaguars. And I'll tell you why. The Bills beat the Cardinals. They did not handle business against the Cardinals. The Bills did not look like a juggernaut team. Trevor Lawrence is, in my opinion, I joke a lot about how he's long haired Daniel Jones. I do believe Trevor Lawrence is a talented quarterback. I think, and I think it's also going to be hard for the Jaguars to go too long into the season without getting a win. And we know every team wins games that they shouldn't win, and every team loses teams that they shouldn't lose. I think the Jaguars, I think they win this game. I think they win it in a close one. I think they win by maybe as little as 3 points. Um, but I do think the Jaguars will pick up their first win. I think Trevor Lawrence is a talented guy. I think Josh Allen it's going to catch up to him the fact that he doesn't really have a legit receiving core anymore ever since Stephon Diggs left. I think that's really gonna hurt them deeper into the season, and I think we're gonna see the first little taste of that this week. So I'm gonna go ahead and say that the Jaguars are gonna win this game in a close fashion, perhaps even in overtime. Hmm.
Huh?
Hmm. And the game that is going to take place 45 minutes. Okay, so you took Bills just to make sure.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Bills for you, and then I went ahead and took the Jags.
I'll take.
Definitely an L take, but I wanted to be different. So last up, 45 minutes after that game starts, we have Commanders Bengals starting. Commanders are 1-1. Bengals, I think, are kind of faking us out here with the 0-2 stars. So Bengals are 0-2 right now. Is Joe Burrow cooked? Question mark.
Uh,
Or has it just been bad luck for them? And I will say I think Jaden Daniels is cooked. I think, look, and I'm not going to go out. I'm not going to be plain biased again. I really do like Jaden Daniels, even though he's on the Washington Commanders. I do really like Jaden Daniels. I liked him as a prospect coming out. I think he's great. I think who's that running back they got? That Brian Robinson. I think Brian
Brian
Robinson.
Robinson Jr.
I think B Rob. I think he's a really good. I think he's a talented running back. The fact of the matter is, they won that game against the Giants. But the fact of the matter is, Jane Daniels did not throw for a single touchdown. Also, the Washington Commanders football team did not score a single touchdown. The only reason they won that game is because the Giants didn't have a fucking backup kicker. Thanks a lot, Joe Shane. But this doesn't look like a competent football team. Not yet. I think they will be. I think Jaden Daniels is going to be a great quarterback. I think he's going to give the Giants and the Cowboys and the Eagles, I think he's going to give them a lot of grief for years to come. Jaden Daniels has a lot of talent. Terry McLaurin isn't as good as people say he is, but he's still solid. Um, I think Joe Burrow picks up his first win of the year. I think it's unbelievable that he choked so hard with that fumble last week. I think it was just unbelievable. And he got they got absolutely robbed. They should have won the game against the Chiefs. They got absolutely robbed by the refs. Once again, I think they should be discussed. I think the refs should be disgusted. In my heart, the Bengals are 1-1 right now, and they're not 0-2. In my heart, they're 1-1. I think the Bengals win this game against the Washington Commanders, no problem.
At this point, I'm just convinced the Bengals are masochists. I don't know. They seems like every year they just start out 0-2, and then they finish the year 12-5, 10-7, some bullshit every year. And I think they should win this game. However, I am gonna cope a little bit for the Washington Commanders. I think out of all the rookie quarterbacks, Jaden Daniels has been the only one I've looked at and said that he deserved to start week 1. And I think if he can get the pass game in tuned with his receivers, I think that their defense can withstand the brunt of the Bengals offense and that they can win in a very, very close affair. That's all the cope I have for the Washington Commanders.
Aside from Emmanuel Forbes, name a one motherfucker on that secondary.
Gulp, Brian St. Juice.
LOL.
That's the only guy I remember. I won't lie. I had to think for a second. I was like, do they have Kendall Fuller anymore? Nope.
No,
They
no,
have
no.
Brian St. Juice though. That's pretty good. Yeah,
Yeah, you know
not
what?
too bad.
You know what? You're in your bag. You're in your bag.
Hold on, let me cook.
I think, yeah, dude, you're like yeah, that wasn't really cooking. That was like pouring the milk before the cereal is what that was.
Damn. You don't believe in him? 1-on-1, Jamar Chase locking him down, seatbelt
I,
on, driving him to
look,
school.
I believe in him more than Emmanuel Forbes. I'll say
That
that.
is true.
The fact that okay, now my NFC East bias will
Oh
kick in
no.
for this one statement. The fact, dude, I want every listener, all three of our listeners, two of which are going to be us. I want every listener to this episode to understand that when I say this, I have the largest shit-eating grin on my face ever. I cannot believe that the Commanders did not draft Deontay Banks. I can't believe they took Emmanuel Forbes over Deontay Banks. It's unfucking believable. It's crazy to me. What an absolutely horrible pick. The Giants should have gotten Emmanuel Forbes, and the Giants should have been even worse than they are right now. That's what should have happened. But they went with Emmanuel Forbes. I have no idea why they would do that. Anyway.
So weird that Emmanuel Forbes just reminds me of Eli Apple. Like the depressing pick of Eli Apple still lives in my head rent free. I don't know why. Every time someone mentions a bad corner taken in the first round, my first thought is just Eli Apple. And I'm like, ugh, ugh.
Giants have been so cooked with first round picks, man. Although we didn't pick Eli Apple.
That is
Did we?
true. No, we did.
We
We
didn't
did.
pick.
He was
We
a
did?
late. It was the year we went to the playoffs. He was our late first round pick.
2016.
It was so funny because my friend who's an Ohio State fan said you got one of the best corners in the draft. I'm like, for real? He's like, yeah, trust.
LMAO.
Ooh, what a turn of events.
Dude, when let's we could just quickly just right now. This will be the new Giants segment of the episode. Let's run through our first round picks. Eli Apple, Eric Flowers,
Evan Neal.
Evan Neal, Kayvon Thibodeau, Daniel Jones,
Oh,
Saquon Barkley, Deontay Banks. Dude, we have been absolutely cooked. I do think Deontay Banks is good. Saquon Barkley didn't do us shit. Didn't do shit for us, man.
It's a
We,
running back. What do you expect?
yeah, it's unbelievable that any running back. I think the Bijan Robinson pick was stupid. I think Bijan Robinson is a very talented player. I think if you're wasting of a high first round pick on a running back, I think you should instantaneously be revoked of your decision making privileges. It makes no sense to me. I don't know. Anyway, do you have anything that you would like to mention now that we've made our picks? We talked about some storylines. Do you have anything you want to do? Anything you want more you want to mention before we sign on out?
Can't wait till next week for all my picks to be right. This bum on the other side getting them all wrong. It's going to be a very great episode because all the underdogs are going to win. The ones I picked, at least. I believe. I believe. Not really, but I have to believe.
My guy literally picked the freaking
Okay.
Titans. My
Don't
guy
don't
picked
start.
the Titans.
Don't start. No, no,
The
no, no.
Titans over, dude. Unbelievable. Anyway, yeah, no, I can't wait for all of my choices to be right. Yeah. But that was our very first inaugural episode of Getting the Stop podcast. I guess we'll just drop our Twitter handles right now. If you first off go follow the podcast, we'll send out tweet notifications of every episode when it drops. And maybe we'll even do a little bit more tweeting on that page for things that pertain to the game of football as well. So the to find the podcast on Twitter, it is Getting Stop at GettingDaStop, GettingDaStop, Getting Stop. And my personal Twitter handle is Passing Paisano, Passing Paisano. If you're Italian, you know you know. Sassman, let them know yours.
Mine is just at Sassypin, SASSYPIN. Very simple.
Perfect. So yeah, I really enjoyed this first episode. I hope that we can make this consistent, and hopefully Sassman gets off work literally at all earlier because
Oh,
it's
but
one
no, it
fucking
is
30.
it is never gonna happen.
This is unbelievable that I'm up till 1:30 talking
You
about.
might be cooked.
I'm talking about Giants first round picks at 1:30 in the morning. I'm so cooked.
Drinking a beer, crying in bed with a picture of Eli Apple. It's over. My day is ruined.
No way, dude. With a picture of Eli Apple.
Me sobbing
Oh
with my
man.
Darren Waller jersey I bought last year.
Oh,
Voila.
you. Oh no, I forgot you bought a Waller jersey.
No, I
No.
didn't buy it. I got it as a
Oh.
birthday present, which is not much better. But
Oh.
it is what it is. It's the worst part is it's the throwback jersey, so it actually looks really cool.
Ayo, shout outs to all the homies out there with Eric Flowers jerseys just folded up in their closets right now. Shout out.
Collecting dust, never to be seen again.
Dude, I swear to God, if I see anyone at a game with an Eric Flowers jersey, I will personally walk up to them and give them $1,000.
Damn.
I will give them $1,000 cold hard cash if I see anyone in public wearing an Eric Flowers jersey.
I
So
think I gotta go buy one now.
put up your Eric Flowers. Yeah, good luck finding one.
Never gonna find one. I don't even know what number he wear, like 76? 73?
Yes, some ass number. I don't fucking know. All right. Well, thank you for listening, guys. I hope you we both hope you enjoyed the podcast. Go follow us on our relevant social media platforms so you can be notified of every episode when it comes out. And I've been Derek. He's been Saspin. And thank you guys. You guys have a wonderful day. Enjoy the games and peace out. This has been Getting the Stop.